Okay, so I haven't completed my reread and reclimb of season one yet, but there's just so many instances here of brilliance that I wanna crystallize and highlight. So a lot of people who are tired of hearing me complain and whatnot, or like the criticism I have for the series, can understand where I'm coming from. Season one, truly, I want you to go back and reread it if you haven't. And that I don't think season one will take you as long as other chapters in Tower of God because season one chapters are shorter, and season one's about what 80 chapters or so. The way that SIU actually there's a moment where Rack walks at the hand Sung Yu, looks down at him, says he's too small, and in the next kind of like panel after that interaction, there's this brilliant shift of perspective of Han Sung Yu now in the position of the bigger person looking down on him because he compressed him. When I tell you guys that he used to do a lot of the small, important little things that matter to storytelling. And remember, I'm somebody who understands storytelling and writing a lot more intimately than other people. Whether or not you want to argue about the literal contents of a story, different argument, different story. But storytelling is what it is. He does so many things that are super good like that. There's Aguero's like maliciousness and deviousness and the way that he plans and schemes. That stuff is really good. Like we really need to bring that back. You could argue maybe that Bam has rubbed off on him, and that's why he's not as malicious. But we need that level of that back from Aguero and the Han Sung Yu of season one. I'm sorry, it's not the same Han Sung Yu as season three. Like I've always said, the data floor version of Han Sung Yu being kind of starry-eyed or whatever it is you want to call him, a little bit more immature, makes sense. He's younger. There's youth there, and sometimes as younger people we're not as experienced. And honestly, I say that you get a little more hardened, a little more steeled the older you get because you become a little because you literally face the harsh realities of life. He's very, 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 very petty. And he is honestly quite vindictive. I need you to go back and pay attention to the season one version of this. Now, I will give you guys an argument that no one's given me, but if I believe that the Tower of God creator that I'm listening to is not making sense about Han Sung Yu, this would probably be my rebuttal. Han Sung Yu on the second floor without a Vankel being there is essentially the strongest person. You saw how he dealt with Ren to some degree. You saw how Lororo and Quant look up to him. He's the head dog here. So he's in a position of power and strength. And alongside of Vankel and other high rankers in Jihad Empire people and things of that nature, Chian, Hihan, whatnot, he's no longer in the position of strength, in the position of sheer dominance, and thus the hierarchy changes, and thus his role changes. So the way he conducts himself would also have to change. But that's my argument against my own little critique here. Nobody has ever said that to me. So if y'all start saying it now, I'm not giving you credit. I'm giving myself credit. So there's that. I still really like the first season's art. You can't convince me that it's bad. I will agree with you that it's rough and it's amateurish, but at the end of the day, you've seen the progression. You know where it goes, and I'm never mad at people who are constantly improving at what they're doing in their craft. So that stuff's really good. The first season is also very funny. I'd always remember Tower of God being funny and having humor in it, especially in earlier, but I don't remember laughing this hard. The guy with Narumada in the hide and seek test, when Dorsey makes the circle and wants to get rid of the other, whatever, and the one guy in the we're calling him Oro. Someone made a mistake and called him Boro, but we called him Oro. His long lost brother. He has another brother named Ro, and one named Oro. So there's four of them. But him and the guy with the ignition weapon, like he was killing me. Like he was like, Princess, yes, everything you say, you're under your command. And then when she betrayed him, he was so inconsistent with his stance towards her and how he felt. It was so funny, but it kind of made sense because he understood that he wasn't stronger than her, but it's just like there's still ego and pride and whatnot. There is even this one moment where he what did he do? Oh, he kind of gets knocked out, And then Bam kind of has this really important speech about friendship and maybe not betraying each other to go up the tower and walks to the circle and leaves. And they both say she got dumped, which pisses her off. But he was unconscious. He regained consciousness so he could talk smack about her. It's so good. Like, I need this level of humor to come back. I love it. His actual name is Des Lion, but we call him Oro. There you go. So yeah, another thing I'd argue is SIU does a lot of things that I've seen. We're up to 56 right now, I believe. So I believe it stays consistent to the end of season 1 and bleeds into season 2. But he does this thing where I really love when authors do this. It's one of my favorite things what they do. They have something kind of serious and seemingly significant happen and immediately try to undermine it, which gives that scene, I would say at minimum, 2 ways to interpret it. I'm gonna give you a One Piece example from Water 7. Kaku, we know was a CP9 agent. By the time we think he's a Galea Company carpenter. When he runs, he jumps off and he goes to the ship to like see Zoro. Zoro first goes, Usopp. Oh, no, his nose is square. It's not the same or whatever the case is. And then Kaku says, oh, like, I'm a shipwright. Whatever, blah, 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 yada, yada. And Zoro basically says he doesn't believe him. Then later on, you learn that he's an assassin. With that scene, there were seeds of doubt planted in there, but he did enough that I can see somebody just writing that scene off. What is Zoro talking about? He just woke up. What are you talking about? That's Usopp? Come on, dog. Like, you're not Luffy. Why do you think that was Usopp? Like, you did enough there to hide something. There's a point here where Yuga, or Lopo BRN, sorry, says that the teams are equal because basically he's saying because solely due to the fact, this is my interpretation at least, that Bam is on team B of these tests, the teams are even despite the quality of candidates not being the same in team A and team B. And says that he's like a monster, whatever, and makes a joke about wanting to win the lottery. Like, he pulls it back immediately in the next panel. So we're like, what is this guy talking about? And everyone doesn't take him serious. Those scenes are so important. We need more of that moving forward. And again, I'm going to give credit where credit is due. I think SIU did a lot of the small things. Like I speak about it ad nauseum. The stuff, the interaction with Owl, Holland. I wasn't PDD, but PDD is Owl. Owl and Hansung and Hajin Sung and stuff. Like, there's a lot of good stuff that was happening. I always bring up the stuff with the boss and with the captain. Remember when he's in the suspendium? And he's like, how was this random foot soldier keeping up with me? And then that moment happened. Like, we're getting instances of that stuff happening again. But it needs to be kind of consistent. And then I'll kind of finish it off with this, I suppose. The downtime. The moments where there's nothing really happening except the characters having comedic moments with one another, hearts to heart with one another, disputes with one another, and just generally talking. The moment where Aguero was struggling with aimlessness and a loss of purpose because now he basically thinks that Bam will not climb anymore because he found Rachel. And Rack pulls up to him and says, looking at him like kind of with a dead eye, and he's kind of aimless, and he's like, you're just so pathetic. Then Aguero explains himself with a Maria and whatnot, and he goes like, you're even worse than I thought. Oh my God. Because if you believe that Maria was worthy of being beside the king, the right thing to do is, because you obviously wanted to still be with her and you're lamenting the fact that you didn't make that decision, you're regretting the words you never said. Shout out to Lupe Fiasco. Oh, what's gonna thought? Because that Lupe Fiasco thing. What was I saying? I was cooking. I know I was cooking. But anyways, so in that moment, right, Rat calls him out. And then Bam walks in, saying he's going to keep climbing because of Rachel wants to be her legs or whatever. And he understands that it's because he regretted doing the hard thing being emotionally vulnerable and admitting that he wanted to go up with her. And Rack said you should have killed him, became the king, so that she's by your side. And then with Baam, he kind of regained he gets that courage to kind of do it again. I thought that was a really good moment, and I think that we're missing stuff like that. I think it's super important that in every arc or whatever the case is in the story, right? You build up to a climax. You're crescendoing, you're going up the hill, you're going up the mountain. Then you reach like the pinnacle, the climax where everything is popping off, all the trials and tribulations, obstacles. It comes to a point, a clash of two people or two ideals or even multiple ideals. Then, in my opinion, it's very important to kind of deflate the audience and bring them back down to earth by having some downtime, some comedy, and generally not having them do anything particularly important. I think that's very important, very essential. And the reason for that is, I think the best example that I can think to myself personally of a series that keeps trying to one up itself to the point that it's over the topness, trying to be more super special, awesome, mega, ultra, whatever the case is. What's up, Abdel?
Yay!
I appreciate you, bro.
Peace.
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm talking about some Tower God things right now. But the best example I could think of that is actually Kill la Kill. And you may not agree with this, but bear with me.
Peace.
It's not to talk. It's not to denigrate Kill la Kill as a good or bad series. Whatever you think about Kill la Kill, I don't care. It's not important. But I really think Kill la Kill had this problem. I recall maybe early there was a chapter that did this where they were running around with like Mako and Mako's family. But Kill la Kill to me keeps trying to one up itself with how awesome something is. Where it's like, I transform and I have the sword. And then the next time was like the super mega ultra decapitator scissor sword number 2 version 8.0. And it's like Trigger Studios keeps trying to one up its previous awesomeness. And to me, at one point, it just became like a natural thing in the series. It became very normal and standard that anytime it happened, I expected it and I didn't go, oh, Uncle Bunga, it's so cool. Just like, man, sword longer, sword bigger. You get what I'm saying? I think when you have an arc of something as crazy as like, I don't know, a world-ending event, and then you just kind of have the characters like, like in the Avengers scene when they're just eating shawarma. That I think it goes a long way, man. You gotta deflate your audience after you build them up on that crescendo and put all the stress of what's going on in a head-to-head in an arc. That's just my opinion, though. Let me know what you guys think about that. And I think with that, I think we can wrap up this stream. Shout out to the Patreon gang. Shout out to my certified BAM lovers. I appreciate y'all. Gotta show love to the Priests of Fire. You already know what's brilliant, gang, over here. But I gotta give a huge thanks to my tier 3 subscribers, the 5th Zen Gods. Shout out to Zodiac, Sunny Katapali, Simi, Scobe, Revenant, Lucky Roo, Lazy Dragon, Chris, Johnny Rogers, Irene Sharda, Triss, David Langstaff, Childish Nujabes, AJ, and my boy Big Abdel. Your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you.